How you doing, everybody? Bobby Gunz here again. Today, I'm going to do something a little different. I know my channel is going to be mostly metal detecting and magnet fishing, treasure hunting, stuff like that. But I was on a live chat with Treasure Vixens, and you should check them out. They do magnet fishing. So I was watching them the other day, and this gave me the idea to make this video. It's super simple to do. A lot of you magnet fishermen may come across some steel or iron items that you have no clue what they were unless you can clean them up, or you know what they are and they're so caked with rust that you buy all these chemicals and you soak it in vinegar or Coca-Cola, and it just takes forever and several processes over and over again, and you still can't get that finish that you're looking for or get all the rust. The problem is, especially with stuff with working parts like wrenches or pliers or anything springs that have internal working parts that you can't get to. They're hard to reach with chemicals and stuff like that. This process reaches those areas and restores to an extent and gets all that rust out of there. So what we're doing today is called electrolysis, and it's pretty easy. Anybody can do this at home with just a few basic ingredients, we'll say. So what you're going to need is a 12-volt battery. In this case, I'm using a battery off of my boat. You're going to need a battery charger. Now, the reason we're using both is I have a new style battery charger, which it has a computer inside, and it prevents shorts from happening, so it trips, and it doesn't work well. Our process won't work with this particular type. If you had an older type, the little black box with the manual slide switches, that would work fine and you won't need the battery. So this is a 12-volt battery charger. This one's fully automated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook the battery charger to my battery, and then my battery cables will go to my bucket. Depending on the size of the item or how many items you're going to be using an electrolysis bath for, depends on the size of the vessel that you're going to use. In this case, I am just doing, for an example, I'm doing a couple of rusty bolts that I found magnet fishing on my last video, and we'll see how this cleans up. I left the rust caked on it. I didn't brush it. I didn't do anything. I want it to be as honest as possible for all the viewers. Okay, so a couple of more items you're going to need. You're going to need a vessel. In this case, I have a 5-gallon plastic pail, jumper cables, and some type of conductive metal wire. In this case, it really isn't going to matter with what type of metal I'm using, but this is a steel picture wire, solid, not braided, that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be using that to attach around these bolts to suspend them in the water. You're going to need what's called an anode and a cathode, and those are going to be the metallic objects that are going to suspend your item in the electrolysis bath, and you're going to have one that's going to go into the electrolysis bath. One you're going to attach your positive cable or a red cable to. The other one is going to be your negative or your black cable. So the negative or black wire is going to connect to your cathode. Your cathode is going to be the part that your items are going to be suspended from. So in this case, I have a straight piece of rebar, and if you see, I cleaned it down to the bare metal just so I'm ensured that I have a great connection. And then on one end, I did the same thing so that when I have this in the bucket, the wire is going to be twisted around here, and my items are going to suspend into the electrolysis bath. So the next one we have is going to be the anode. The anode is going to sit inside the liquid, and you do not want the two to touch or get close because you can get an arc and it will short out. So for our purposes, I am using some rebar, some 1/2-inch rebar, and I bent this just so that it stays in the bucket. So my red cable, or the positive, is going to clip onto this. The black, or negative cable, is going to clip on here with the part suspended. And now the only thing you're going to do is you're going to fill this water, this pail up with some water. You could use cold water, warm water, whatever. I find warm water works better because it'll dissolve whatever solution you're going to be putting into it. In the case here, I'm just using regular non-iodized salt, table salt. And I have about 2 cups. You may find you don't need that much, or you may need a little more. The easiest way for me to tell is that once I mix everything together and I hook everything up and I plug the electricity to it, you should immediately, or at least within a few seconds, see some kind of a reaction, some kind of bubbles that are coming up from the objects that are suspended. So if we don't see that, I tend to add a little bit more, maybe a 1/4 cup at a time, until I get the right proportion. There is a formula, but I'm making this as easy as possible. I do it by eye. So you could do any iron objects with this. This method is also used for refining gold and other precious metals. For this, what we're going to do is I'm going to snap my fingers and I'm going to have a bucket of water right here. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, and here we are. Ta-da! Water. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take our salt. We're just going to pour that in. And stir it around. Stir it really good. And what that's going to do is it's going to make the water more conductive of electricity. Okay. There we go. Let's put that back. Let's put this back. And now we are going to get set up. So we have our bolts. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take about 18 inches of wire. That's what I'm going to use for this particular project. I'm just going to clip off a piece. And I am going to give this a couple of wraps tightly around here, just to hold it, and around here, just to hold it. Okay. And that's going to be pretty much it. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the excess and connect it like such. I want to keep it from touching each other completely, but that's all I need right here. And I'm going to just submerge them in the water. and give this a nice tight wrap. So when you put it in, you just want your item just submerged in the water. You don't want the water touching this. You just want to suspend them in the water. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we are going to take the connectors here, my jumper cables, and now the negative, or the black wire, is going to attach to the cathode. And the cathode, once again, is the part that needs to be cleaned. So we are going to attach that one to there. And then we're going to attach the positive, or the red wire of the cables, to this sacrificial metal, in this case rebar, which we are now going to call the anode. So that's going to attach here. Okay. And once again, you want to make sure that this does not make contact with the other piece. Otherwise, you get sparks, and that's a no good. Okay, so once your anode and your cathode are connected with that, we can now take our other ends of the battery cables, and that is going to attach the black to the negative or minus terminal of the battery. Okay. And then we're going to take the red, or the positive terminal, and connect that to the plus, or positive terminal of the battery. And now, you should, in a few seconds, start seeing some bubbly action here. Let's see. So now, as you can see, we already are starting that bubbling process. Okay? And now it depends on how much rust you're dealing with and the size of the item that you are using electrolysis for. Alright, now I'm going to set up the camera to overlook this, and I will be back shortly. Okay, guys. So now this camera is set up. The beeping that you hear is the battery charger telling me that the battery has shorted. So let me reset it. Let's reset here. I'm going to move this a little bit further away. There we go. And let's try this again. So right now, I think I have corrected the issue just by moving this over and separating the distance between the cathode and the anode. And we should be good to go. So, our alarm's about to go off in a couple of seconds, and we will check it out here. Let's see. Alright, timer's done. Cancel. Okay. Let's see what we have. I'm going to disconnect the battery here. Disconnect positive, the negative, and take this out of the water. Now, as you can see here, we have the rust is actually collected on this one here. And if we take a look at the other one, we have quite a bit of that rust is gone. Now, what I should be able to do is take this, let it dry, hit it with a wire wheel, and start to shine this up a bit. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put it in for another short period, and you can see all the rust and sludge that's accumulated on the top of the water. So I'm just going to stir the electrolyte a little bit, get that mixed up here a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to suspend this back into the solution. I'm going to take this, hang this back down in, reconnect the negative wire here, make sure the positive has a good connection still, negative to negative, positive to positive, and we have some reaction going on still. Okay, so I'm going to set this for another 30 minutes and we will be back. So here we are at a total of 1 hour, give or take. It's a few minutes over because I was doing some stuff upstairs. Just another note, if you're going to do this, they can give off some fumes, so it's preferred to do this outside, but my garage is well ventilated and they were very small items that I have in here. You definitely don't want to do this inside your house, like the living quarters, the kitchen, anything like that. If you have a large garage and you have smaller items, you could do it in there, but the preferred method is to do this outside. We're going to check this now. I'm going to disconnect my leads. This one is coming off, and the negative is coming off. Disconnect the batteries. Okay, now you can see all the rusty colored sludge on the top of this. I mean, it is absolutely nasty. You see how this is turned black compared to up here, that rusty colored. All the steel particles that are coming off of the bolts are actually attaching to this piece of metal. So let's see here. Let's just give this a little swish. Oh wow, guys. Okay. I'm going to get some light on here. But what we have here, you could see it is, especially this one here, a lot better than what it was earlier. I apologize for the lighting here. Give me a quick second. Let me get my phone and get you guys some light. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay. So as you can see, it saved a lot of elbow grease, and it is really, really, you could even make out the threads on these too. You saw how in the beginning it was all caked on. So now this here, it will clean up really nice with a wire brush. Stand by and I will get one and I will be right back with you. Okay guys, we are back. I'm going to take this first one off of here. Let's get you in the picture here. Once again, I want to give a shout out to the Treasure Vixens because they gave me the idea, unknowingly, to do this video. Once again, I was on a live chat with them, and they were trying to clean up some AK-47 and shotgun parts. They were using vinegar and all different kinds of chemicals and putting a lot of elbow grease into it. And I had suggested that they try this electrolysis, and they said they would do that on their next finds. So I want to just give a special shout out to them and to thank them, even though they don't know what the heck they did. But yeah, this is the process. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lock this in. It's going to get a little noisy here. Oh, this doesn't have a lock button. Okay, well, we'll just do it like this. Let's see here. And I'm not applying very much pressure to this at all. And as you can see, right now, this is pretty much brand new, and I would actually use this on something and trust it to function and to have the strength that it originally had. So you can see just a little bit of difference that in the results compared to chemicals. And yes, some chemicals do work, but it's a lot less time and effort. Like, you just hang this in the bath. This one only took an hour, and you remember how crusted over it was. And now you see this one here still has a lot of rust crusted onto it. Okay. But now, let's hit it with a wire brush and see how shiny it gets. Oh yeah. Look already. That rust. See how it's really caked on there? And now, there's very minimal effort. And once again, this one is all ready to be used. And this is all real time, other than just a time lapse of these in the bath to just show the process of it bubbling and stuff. And I'm not even putting a lot of pressure on this. And you see how nicely that cleaned up. Alright, so Here you go, guys. So I hope that the Treasure Vixens will definitely use these on their next finds. Alright, this is Bobby Gunz, and I thank you for watching. And as soon as we dig out, and we got a major snowstorm here. I literally got over 30 inches of snow here in the southern tier of New York. And they're calling for another 3 to 5 inches locally come tomorrow morning. But I really cannot wait to get the metal detectors out and to get that magnet and rope going and make you guys some awesome videos. Again, thank you for watching. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. I know this is only going to be the second video that's up, but I promise you there's going to be plenty more coming. And hopefully we'll be getting some excellent content. And I will see you guys again soon. Thank you so much for watching.